What's up guys, Joey here. I just wanted to share a fix for Ghost of Tsushima on PC, although this may carry over to consoles as well if you can if you're well, I'm not too familiar with consoles, but if you know how to adjust your performance modes to get your frame rate lower, that could also fix it. So if there's like settings you can turn up, sometimes there's like a HD HQ setting you can turn up to get your frame rate down. That may also be a fix on consoles. But basically, it's to do with standalone either not working properly or randomly breaking. Like some encounters, it'll work fine, and then others, it'll just randomly, you can't, none of the buttons work. So there's two causes I've figured out or identified from, trolling through forums and stuff and lurking forums and trying to find out what the cause of the bug is and reading what other people have tried to fix it or say fixes it. And the main one is not an actual bug. It's to do with they can actually grab their sword, but then in order to swing, the game should let you just release the button. But for some reason, people have to press attack or something else like they have to press an extra button. So basically, that one is to do with the gamepad setting called toggle button holds, and you want it turned to off, and your hold actions preset set to hold. So if you've accidentally messed with these settings, or if they've defaulted for some reason to the wrong one, try toggling them. And then the main bug is actually a proper bug. It's to do with the game engine. So the game engine, the timing windows, and the quick time events, well, at least standoffs, are tied to the frame rate. And the game was developed with 60 FPS. So sometimes multiples of 60 can work, but my main theory, like I've actually tested it, I've been able to reproduce the bug, but my main theory is either 60 or a multiple of 60 can work. So a multiple of 60, or it's a multiple of 30, like 120 FPS locked might work for you. Because I did read someone said 120 was working for them. But on the offside, the other theory is that some areas of the game are more intensive. So even if you're running at 120 FPS, if your 1% lows are down at 60, or if you're running above 100 FPS, if your 1% lows are actually lower than that, you're not going to trigger the bug, and it's going to seem like the 120 might work, and you've just happened to turn it on in that you've happened to cap your FPS in that section of the game. But basically, that is also the reason why some areas of the game, like you won't get the bug, and sometimes you will get it. It's because of the way some instances of the game, like some combat areas, are actually low FPS enough because they're so intensive. And then when you're near the ocean or you're near like an open field forest, and you're looking the right direction when you trigger the standoff, your FPS is actually dipped, or your FPS is actually too high. Sorry, so it's like up at 100 plus. And if that happens, it's not actually the randomness, it's actually because of certain areas of the game that's causing it. Certain encounters where they randomly spawn are just less intensive or more intensive. So yeah, the fix is, apart from the toggle, the accessibility and options accessibility, apart from messing with these settings, if you're just getting like a half functioning standoff where you have to press extra stuff, the main fix for the buttons not working and the standoff completely being broken is to cap your FPS to 60. And if you're on PC, you can still keep your refresh rate up. Like you don't actually have to lower your refresh rate, but you do have to play at 60 FPS. And that's actually not a bad thing, because there's bugs with basically any of the upscaling methods I've tried. Is it randomly the fire, like when there's fire burning, if you have upscaling on, even if it's set to quality, the particles will either disappear or be very blurry, and it'll just be random. So some cutscenes you'll get really blurry, pixelated looking particles, and running native, if possible, actually looks the best. Like you won't have that issue. And the other major thing you need to know is that from my own testing, like this is just anecdotal, but given the way that this bug is reproducible when you run it if you purposely turn on upscaling and set your settings to like performance mode, so you're running 100 plus even on the 1% lows and they're really high, if you do that, like I'll just turn my FPS cap off using Radeon chill on a min max of 60. If you purposely boost your FPS and play like that, even though your FPS is really high, you'd think that would help you in the gameplay. The way this game was designed, or the way the game engine's built, and the timing windows for the parries and everything, it's actually tied to the frame rate. So you'll actually miss more of your parries if you're not if you haven't mastered it, or if the FPS isn't consistent enough. You'll have some areas where you'll hit your parry and you'll think you're just getting better, or you just suck at the game, like you'll randomly miss your parry or you deflect, and then randomly you'll play better. And that is because of the way the FPS and the timing windows are tied to the frame rate. If you lock it at 60, the game will play better and you will play better because it'll all be more consistent and your muscle memory will actually work properly. And when you hit like parry or deflect just as something's happening, you'll actually get it instead of the enemy just randomly hitting you and you thought you pressed it in time but you didn't. That's because of the high frame rate. So the way I know this is because I've been actually trying to master lethal difficulty, and I was just getting some areas I was doing all right, and I was like landing all my, my deflects and my dodges, and then randomly I would just miss, and I'm like, why? I'm like pressing it at the right time, like, I'm not that bad at games that I miss all my stuff, and I'm actually pressing it at the right time, but because the frame rate was fluctuating, the enemy's attack was actually happening faster, and it's hard to notice. Like, you'll just think you suck. Like, that's the impression I was getting. Like, I'm just crap at it. As soon as I kept it to 60, I started landing all of my parries and all of my dodges. Like, I actually started playing really good to the point where lethal is not a problem for me. Also, my gear helps, like that I'm not dying in every single time in one hit, but now I actually rarely get hit because I'm getting all my parries in. And when I run it at a high FPS, I do play worse. So test it for yourself. Like, don't take my word for it, but you might also notice the game plays better at 60 than it does at 120 or 140 or 200, whatever. So anyway, to reproduce this, I'm just going to show you. I've set upscaling on to ultra performance so that we get a really high frame rate in this port. And as you can see here, like in other random instance encounters, if I had just like balanced or even quality, I could be near the ocean. I'd be at 160 FPS easily. And here at this like more intensive scene, even on performance mode, I'm only at 120 FPS, and my 1% lows are actually not that. Oh no, they're up to 100. That's okay. That's enough to trigger the bug. But just in saying that, it's just to show you how a certain scene could be running at the right FPS, why the bug is so seemingly random when it's not actually random. It's to do with the frame rate fluctuations depending on how intensive. So I'm at like an actual port where I can trigger a standoff on purpose and reload it because it's like to take the fort. So that's what I've done like for this video to demonstrate. But if you just wanted the fix, just try it. Like I've already given the fix. You don't actually have to watch this whole thing. Just go into download MSI Afterburner and use ReVtuner if you're on an NVIDIA card, or if NVIDIA have some kind of game like driver level FPS cap, use that. Actually, I think you can through an NVIDIA control panel. You can cap your FPS through there somehow, or you can use VSync in exclusive full screen mode, 60 Hertz. That will also cap your FPS at 60. But that's not like an ideal option because then when you alt tab and multitask, it's not as good. And so yeah, ReVtuner is the best way, which is MSI Afterburner ReVtuner. Most NVIDIA users use that anyway, and just cap your FPS through there to 60. And on AMD cards, open your AMD sidebar, like your AMD software, because everyone will have this. And Radeon Chill set a min max of 60, and that will also fix your standoffs working. And now I can actually level the standoff technique, and like I actually put points into it because it's working now. Like I was neglecting using it because it was so hit and miss. Excuse the pun. So anyway, if I try to, here we go. I've just initiated one and it's not going to work. Like I'm pressing right click. I can't right click. Like, can you hear that clicking? That's my right click on my mouse and nothing works. That's because I've got yeah. See, now I can press stuff. Like you can see I started swinging away. Like I'm not showing it on camera, obviously, but you can hear me clicking. And as soon as I started, as soon as it finished the standoff, I started swinging. So that was me clicking. I don't know if it's coming through on the microphone. Sorry. So I'll go again. Like so, this is at 120 FPS, and because I'm running such a high frame rate with the the performance mode, and again, it's doing it again. So that's just to prove that it's definitely tied to the frame rate. So see, I can't grab my sword. And now it's going to start swinging away. Okay. I'll do it one more time just for good measure, just to show you. And yeah, his hand just goes out, and yeah, pressing. I'll just keep pressing this one button, so you can see as soon as he comes out of it, he starts heavy attacking. When he gets one in or lethal, but yeah. Okay. So now we're going to crank the settings back up. I'm going to go back to my, this is what I actually play at now because upscaling is bad. You don't want super high FPS unless you're on a really low-end hardware. And I like this one because the foliage looks the most natural with EXA ESS native AA. It does add some smoothy, blurry effect, but you actually it's preferable for some of us because the trees look more natural at a distance. If you run the other AA methods, I'll just quickly show you this because you might notice it too. It looks over sharpened in the distance, especially if you use Radeon image sharpening at like 80% or so to make the gown and the foreground look really sharp and clear. If I turn Radeon image sharpening down, the texture on his coat thing starts to, on his clothing starts to look blurred. Like it doesn't look as good, at least on an ultra-wide 3440 by 40. But anyway, just to show you, the foliage in the distance of those trees looks really bad, like really over sharpened and pixelated. And then if I turn it to XeSS, it gives it like a little bit of an oily effect, but it actually looks nicer. It's nicer on the eyes when you're playing the game and like you're walking in fields of grass and stuff. So yeah, I'm getting off track there. So I'm just turning on native, and you'll see my FPS is down at 90. That can still randomly trigger the bug. And then my settings are all cranked up. XE GTAO. The only one I keep down is reflections, just because it doesn't need to be high to look good. Actually, no, it's fine. I could keep that up too. So yeah, it's just depth of field that annoys me in some bits, and Winget makes some indoor areas look super dark for some reason. So I just keep that off. So anyway, Radeon chill and capping FPS to 60. So watch my FPS graph on the side. And now, first try, my standoffs will work. Like I'm very confident that it will. Oh wait. I wasn't even able to trigger the standoff, sorry. It wasn't prompting. I waited too long. I need to just keep pressing. There we go. And you'll see, as soon as it gets into it, I'll be able to hold the button and he'll grab the sword. Yep, it's working. So, yeah, 60 FPS. There we go. And someone else will run in, and I can left click and get a double. Yes, doesn't matter. I'm reloading it just to prove that the bug's fixed. So yeah, if you've been suffering this issue, I believe it also happens on consoles too, when they did the performance mode to get higher frame rate in some games. I'm not sure if Ghost of Tsushima has it, like I don't have a PS5 or an Xbox, but if you've been having the same problem on console, and you've already tried the accessibility thing, like it's just your inputs aren't working, then turn off your performance mode and just run at 60 FPS or as close to 60 as possible. Or even 30 FPS mode if you have to, and just test it at least, see if 30 FPS fixes it. So yeah, I can grab my sword and it's working flawlessly. Yeah, I've got like 2 attack. So yeah, and the timing is also so much easier because it's consistent now. It's solid 60. It's always the same type of timing window, so it's much easier to deflect and dodge and stuff. Oh, not when they're red. So anyway, I'll just get another 1 or 2 just to show you that it's really consistent. It was broken before, and now it's grabbing it every time. I want to get my bow out. There we go, standoff. Grab it again. Why did that pop up now? Pretty new. Heck. I don't know why it's prompting me now about like those tooltips. I'm gonna hit. And I'll load it again just to get that standoff. Show you guys. I don't know what happened. Did one of the settings like just randomly enable for tooltips? No, I guess it just bugged out because I've been reloading this so many times. Here we go. Let's see if I can grab it again. And yep, it's fixed. So yeah, I've already done this like off camera. I've done it like a ton of times just to. I wanted to be sure that the fix really works. So now if I try to take this fort, we'll see if my combat is alright. Obviously I'm not a pro yet. I'm still on the first island. But this is on lethal, so that's why I'm dying so easily. And yeah, just the timing windows, man. I was playing at 100 plus FPS, and I was always randomly. They would hit me, and I would feel like I pressed a button on time, but I was missing. Like I was not getting my parry, perfect parries and things like that weren't working. And it was the frame rate. The game engine like 60, the timing windows will narrow if you have, like, they'll be smaller. So when you press it late, you'll press it late more often. What's this? See, I thought I turned these settings off. I guess it's for a mission. But I just wanted to show you as well. Just see I'm lethal. So I was sucking so bad with uncapped FPS at a higher frame rate. Oh, that was a red attack. Sorry, I still have to muscle memory for dodging red instead of trying to deflect it. Yeah, I suck at dodging red. Red again. Is it going to be red again? Sorry, those were me sucking at dodging, but my parries are on when I can parry. Find some more enemies. Oh, he got me. There we go. So yeah, I still miss sometimes, but yeah, it's far more consistent. I wasn't able to do like 5 in a row or anything like that before. What's happening here? There's no more guard. Like, it reloaded at the checkpoint, but the initial, like, guys I killed are gone. I guess it saves for how far in I've got. Yeah, I can stand off from there. Cool. Just to show it's like not a one-off at a different point. That was a leader. Imagine. I really want win stance. I haven't been putting any points into the other stances yet. So yeah, thanks for watching, guys, and I'll see you in the next video. Yeah, it's a great game. I've just really been enjoying this, like, kind of hooked on it. That guy's such a beast. It's a Ronin armor. Like, see, this is not any funny business. This is my gear. Like, techniques, I've unlocked most of this, so that's probably why. But I haven't got any stances unlocked yet. Got the second standoff now because of the fix. And it's mainly my gear, I think. Like, I've got a few charms going. And then Sakana Katana is level 3. And then the Ronin armor I've got fully upgraded. So this is pretty beast armor. Major increased melee damage. But I had this charm, the one that helps with perfect parries and dodges and stuff. I had that with uncapped FPS. It wasn't helping. I was still getting owned. Alrighty, thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next one. Take care.